Good morning, SEMO, and welcome back to another episode of Hawk's Nest. I'm your host, Maddox Murphy, and joining me are Dylan Nooner and Isaiah Collins. Today, we're going to take a look at our softball and baseball teams, as well as continuing to preview our spring football game. Stay tuned till the end for our Athlete Spotlight of the Week. On that note, let's get into it.
Yeah, our softball team had a big week last week as they kicked it off with a huge weekday win on the road against the number 11 ranked Mizzou Tigers as they won by a score of 1-0. They went ahead on a top of the fourth, two-out double by Brittany Affelter, and then they were backed up by a huge performance by Paisha Holman in the circle as she shut down the Tigers' offense. We'll get more into Paisha's performance a little later, so I don't want to spoil anything just yet. They used that win to get some momentum into their weekend series as they took on Tennessee Tech, winning 2 out of 3 games. They had a Saturday doubleheader that they swept the Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles, winning Game 1 5-3. We go to Game 2. SEMO went up early, 3-0 after 2 innings behind a Marissa Peak 2-run homer to give the Redhawks an early lead. They continue to get strong pitching, this time out of Tegan Livesay, who went the distance, allowing just 1 run on 5 hits and striking out 5 as she moves to 2-3 on the season. Game 3 on Sunday was a little different from the first 2 games. It was a big offensive outburst by both teams. The Redhawks ended up dropping this one 10-8, but not before scoring 8 runs on 10 hits. It was the usual suspects in this one: Aubrey Shore with a home run, and then Paige Hallowell, Marissa Peak, as well as Brittany Affelter, all added RBIs. Like I said, the pitching was great all weekend. Besides this one, they had to use 5 different pitchers to get through it. Although I don't think the box score can really reflect how well the pitching did. It was really the errors that hurt them. They had 4 errors in this one. Only 6 of the 10 runs were earned, and I think that's what really ultimately lost the game for the Redhawks. But overall, it was a great week. They won 3 of the 4 games they played, including the big win against a nationally ranked team on the road. So what do you guys think? I know we were talking about softball team last week, and we were kind of, I don't want to say pessimistic, but we weren't as high on them as we once were to start the season. Do you think this big win against Mizzou and then taking that momentum into the weekend is a turning point for them, or how do you guys view this softball team after this week?
Yeah, so last week we talked about the softball team, and we basically said that we were thinking that it was getting to a point where it's almost too late in the season to kind of pick things back up. And obviously, defeating Mizzou, a ranked team, was huge for us and huge for our confidence. So I am very hopeful that this team will really get that confidence from this week and continue that out as we finish the season. But I don't know. I can't really predict that. I think it seems like they had a good week, but we'll just have to see what comes from this.
Yeah, I was very pessimistic last week about this team. I think I've done a complete 180. It seems to me that the offense is finally rounding out. It's not just a couple of players trying to carry the load. Paige Hallowell has really picked up her play. She had a decent power numbers to start the year off, but everything else has seemed to round out. Marissa Peak has been our number 1 source of power this year. Abigail Rickman's hitting .391 currently. I think the offense is finally coming into its form, and I think the pitching is good enough to where they can make a real run in the OVC.
So switching gears to baseball, we kind of saw a flip this week. Our baseball team lost 2 of their 3 games against Little Rock. Playing at Little Rock, it was not as great of an outing for our Redhawks. So Game 1, we lost 8-2, and kind of similar to how the whole season has been going, we really struggled mostly with pitching and with defense. The pitching staff gave up 8 runs on 12 hits, and the starter, Hayden Dow, allowed 5 runs in 4 innings. So struggled a little bit there. We actually also committed 4 errors. So like you said with softball, it's hard to come back from that. Game 2, we lost again. We lost 4-2. We actually struggled for the first time really that we've seen this season. We struggled offensively in this game. We only managed 2 runs on 5 hits. We had 11 strikeouts. Actually, the pitching held up reasonably well. Wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. They allowed 4 runs on 8 hits, and it just wasn't enough to overcome the offensive difficulties. Moving into Game 3, we definitely picked up the pace more. So I'm proud of the team for, sticking with it and not giving up after some rough play the first 2 games. We won 16-3, so again, saw those offensive capabilities. They scored 16 runs on 17 hits, including 3 home runs. So definitely back to kind of the team that we've gotten used to seeing this season. And really, the pitching was pretty good in this game, too. We had Brian Strange, who started. He went 5 innings and allowed 3 runs on 7 hits with 4 strikeouts. And then Alex Hayes came in and relieved him, and we saw some good things out of him, too. So overall, the offense exploded in Game 3, and we saw kind of the team that we're used to. But overall, we did lose the series. I'm proud of the team for showing that grit and continuing to fight. But what were your guys' thoughts on the baseball team's performance this week?
It was one of those series. You go in against a pretty solid Little Rock team that we kind of highlighted a little bit last week. Like you said, the pitching, which has been the big concern for this team all season. Like you said, it held up really well despite losing 2 out of 3. And then the offense, in those first couple games, sometimes you just got to tip your cap to the opponent. The pitcher, like you said, in Game 2, we really kept him off balance with the 11 strikeouts, and sometimes it's just not your day. But like you said, it was really great to see him bounce back 16-3 in that Game 3. I think it was still, something that they can definitely improve on. You can always get better, and I think that they showed some promise despite losing the series.
Yeah, one thing I did want to highlight, Ben Palmer, you talked about how he's just consistently been putting up numbers for this team. This year specifically, to see his power surge has just been incredible to watch. He's already just 33 games in for the season for him, doubled his home run total, set a career high in RBIs, has an on-base percentage more than 100 points higher than what it had been, significantly highest career batting average. Just to see how he's improved from year 1 to year 2, but then just completely changed his game around in year 3. It's been great to watch. Last week we talked about SEMO football and our defense as far as who's coming back, who left, and what you need to know about it. This week we're talking about the offense. Starting off, Paxton DeLaurent returns at quarterback after missing the last several games of the season due to injury, but he'll have a whole new group of weapons at his disposal. Starting off at the running back position, Geno Hess leaves SEMO. He graduated. He's moving on to new things, but somebody's got to take his place. We have 2 options here. We have Cole Ruble, sophomore running back. He only got 10 touches last year, but was a guy who was really liked by coaches in the summer camp and fall camps of the season. And then there's Darryl Smith, grad student, former JUCO transfer. Smith had 187 yards on 6.9 yards a carry in 2022. However, only got 20 touches in 4 games last year as he fell behind Geno, of course, and Kavion Robbins on the depth chart. Then there's the wide receiver position. Last year, SEMO's top 3 receivers, Ryan Flournoy, DeMaurier Vick, and Dalen McDonald, all played great football for the team. However, they're all moving on to other things as well. McDonald's on the coaching staff, and Flournoy hopefully is going on to the NFL. So the question of who will replace all that production is going to be a big one. Starting off with Jack Clinkenbeard. Clinkenbeard is a former walk-on, earned his scholarship last year, and earned a significant part in the offense towards the end of the season. He finished the season with 27 catches for 315 yards and a touchdown. So hopefully the Springfield, Missouri native can earn a bigger role in the offense this year.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see a major makeover on the offensive side of the ball. Like you mentioned, Geno Hess, our leading rusher, is gone. Our top 3 targets at receiver are gone. Luckily, we're returning the quarterback room, so hopefully there is some stability there. But yeah, it's going to be a struggle. This team really leaned on the offense last year. We talked about the defense last week and their struggles, especially late game. This was an offense that averaged, about 360 yards per game. Most of them on the ground, about 140 per game here with Geno Hess. So hopefully the big hope is going to be some of these guys that were here already stepping up. You mentioned some of them already. That's going to be the biggest hope for this Redhawks team, to get that offense, kick it into gear, and then hopefully the offense and the defense can click at the same time and we can see a successful football season.
If you want to get a chance to see some of these players play, SEMO will play their spring game on April 20th. Now, it's time for the time of the week you guys have all been waiting for. It's our Athlete Spotlight of the Week. Take us away, Dylan.
That's right, and this week we have Patience Holman from softball. She's coming off a dominant performance this past week against the nationally ranked Mizzou Tigers. She went the distance, complete game shutout, allowing just 3 hits and striking out 3, and she was just efficient throughout, just 96 pitches to get it done. She was the sole reason that the Redhawks took the victory and really helped them with this momentum that we talked about for the team. She also threw this past weekend in the series against Tennessee Tech in the first game of the doubleheader. Solid performance. She went 4 2/3, gave up 7 hits, just a couple runs, and really gave the Redhawks a chance to win in the end. What do you guys think about Patience and her performance this week, especially against Mizzou?
I mean, what can you say? A dominant performance against not just SEC competition, top of the level SEC competition. I mean, you can do nothing but just tip your hat.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. You can talk about our OVC players as much as you want in the OVC, but a lot of times people say that doesn't translate whenever you get to the SEC and playing teams like that. So this just proves how good of a player she is, and she had a great outing, and I'm excited to see more from her.
Yeah, I know we've been talking about this Redhawks offense for softball, but she's kind of been overlooked for them this year. She's 8-8 with a 2.92 ERA. She leads the team in innings as well as strikeouts with 51 on 91 innings pitched. She's really been that stopper for them whenever they need a good outing, and I think she's been overlooked and someone that they're going to be able to lean on throughout the rest of the year and help them win an OVC championship.
We have another exciting week coming up in SEMO athletics. Take a look at what's coming up. That's it for us this week. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. Make sure to follow us on socials at Southeast Arrow and On Target Arrow. I'm Maddox.
I'm Dylan.
I'm Isaiah.
And this is Hawks Nest. Have a great week.